Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Daily Financial News Roundup.
Always good to be back.
We've got a lot to get through today.
Oh, yeah.
Let's jump right into it.
Sounds good.
All right, Cathie Wood's Ark Invest made some interesting moves on Friday.
They did.
They bought a significant stake in CRISPR Therapeutics,
Oh, wow.
adding it to both their RKG and RK ETFs.
Really?
That's a purchase of about $12.14 million.
That's interesting because Ark Invest is known for betting on disruptive innovation and CRISPR Therapeutics, a leading gene editing company. So
Right.
a field with massive potential to revolutionize healthcare.
Yeah.
So it looks like Ark is doubling down on their belief in gene editing technology's future.
Yeah, that's definitely a space to watch.
I think, for sure.
They also bought into 10x Genomics for around $1.12 million.
Okay.
Another biotech company.
Interesting.
On the flip side, they sold off some of their holdings in Roblox and Archer Aviation, totaling about $4.12 million.
And they weren't done there. They also reduced their positions in companies like Accolade Inc., New Holdings, Edion NV, and AeroVironment Inc.
So what do you think? Are they sending a signal here?
Well, these adjustments definitely give us a glimpse into Ark Invest's current strategy.
It seems like they're really bullish on biotech.
Especially gene editing. Yeah, it's definitely something investors might want to pay closer attention to.
Yeah, for sure. All right, moving on. Things are getting a bit strange over at the U.S. Office of Personnel Management. We're hearing reports that aides appointed by Elon Musk to oversee the OPM have restricted access to computer systems holding personal data of millions of federal employees.
Right. These systems include the Enterprise Human Resources Integration Database,
That can
which contains sensitive information like social security numbers and pay grades.
Wow, so why the lockdown? What's the reason for this?
Well, this move ties back to former President Trump's directive to reduce the civilian workforce.
Oh, okay.
Elon Musk's team was brought in as part of that effort. However, two anonymous agency officials have expressed worries about potential cybersecurity risks and the lack of oversight with these restrictions.
Wow, has anyone from Musk's team or the OPM or the White House addressed these concerns?
Not yet. The silence definitely raises more questions than answers. The situation warrants close attention given the sensitive nature of the data involved.
For sure. Okay, let's move on to some slightly more positive news from the stock market. T-Mobile has been a stellar performer over the past 10 years.
Absolutely. With an average annual return of 22.26%, TMUS has significantly outperformed the broader market.
Okay.
To illustrate the power of compounding, a $1,000 investment in TMUS a decade ago would be worth over $7,500 today.
That's impressive. What factors do you think have contributed to T-Mobile's success?
Several things. Their aggressive marketing campaigns focus on customer service, and their strategic mergers have all helped them gain market share.
Right.
Additionally, their investment in building out a strong 5G network has positioned them well for the future of mobile technology.
Makes sense. All right. Now, for those in the dermatology field, the 2025 American Academy of Dermatology annual meeting is coming up in Orlando, Florida, from March 7th to the 11th.
That's right. This conference is a great opportunity for dermatologists to connect with peers, learn about the latest advancements in the field, and explore new technologies and treatments.
And if you're looking to boost your practice's online presence, MetaMed Marketing, a digital marketing agency, will be exhibiting there.
Okay.
They offer a range of services, including website design, search engine marketing, and content creation.
That's a great tip for dermatologists looking to expand their reach and attract new patients.
Definitely, in today's digital age, a strong online presence is crucial for any business,
Absolutely.
especially in a competitive field like dermatology.
Yeah, for sure.
Switching gears, we have some concerning news regarding a data breach at Community Health Center. This breach affects over 1 million individuals, and Murphy Law Firm is currently investigating claims on behalf of those impacted.
Oh, wow. This is a major data security incident. Cybercriminals infiltrated the center's computer network, potentially gaining access to highly sensitive personal information, including names, social security numbers, medical records, and even driver's license numbers.
That's scary. What are the potential implications for those affected?
Unfortunately, the risks are significant.
Yeah.
Those affected are at increased risk of identity theft and fraud. Their personal and medical information could be misused for various malicious purposes.
So what steps should those who might be affected take to protect themselves?
It's crucial to monitor their credit reports and bank accounts for any suspicious activity. They should also consider placing a freeze on their credit to prevent new accounts from being opened in their name. Additionally, it's a good idea to change passwords for any online accounts that may have been compromised.
Good advice. Being proactive and vigilant. is essential in mitigating the risks of identity theft.
Absolutely.
Let's move back to the stock market for a moment. Another company with a strong track record is Moody's. They've shown impressive performance over the past 15 years.
That's right. MCO has delivered an average annual return of 21.63%, consistently exceeding the market's performance. To put that into perspective, a $100 investment in MCO 15 years ago would now be worth over $1,800.
That's a great illustration of the power of long-term investing and compounding returns.
Absolutely.
All right, now for our last story in this segment, we have news that could potentially shake up the global economy.
President Trump has announced new tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, and China.
Yes, these tariffs are set to go into effect this Saturday.
Wow.
We're looking at a 25% tariff on goods from both Canada and Mexico and a 10% tariff on goods from China.
What was the reasoning behind that?
The White House claims that tariffs on Canada and Mexico are a response to what they call the illegal fentanyl they have sourced and allowed to distribute into our country.
Yeah.
The tariffs on China, on the other hand, are attributed to trade imbalances, according to the administration.
So what do you make of this? I mean, there are already concerns about a potential trade war and price increases for U.S. consumers. How do you see this playing out? Well, those concerns are definitely valid. There's a definite risk that these tariffs could escalate trade tensions and ultimately lead to higher prices on a range of goods for American consumers.
Yeah,
This situation will require careful monitoring as it unfolds.
absolutely. We're already seeing pushback from Canada. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has stated that Canada will also act if Trump proceeds with the tariffs.
Right. And Mark Carney, a contender to be the next Canadian Prime Minister, has been even more outspoken, calling Trump a bully on BBC Newsnight.
So it sounds like this is just the beginning of what could be a very complicated situation.
It certainly has the potential to create significant ripples throughout the global economy. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out in the coming weeks and months.
Absolutely. All right, that wraps up the first part of our news roundup. We'll be right back after a quick break with more financial news and insights.
Stay tuned. We were just talking about those tariffs that President Trump announced.
Right, the ones on Canada, Mexico, and China.
Yeah, there's been kind of an interesting development on the Canadian oil tariff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so while the 25% tariffs on other Canadian goods take effect on Saturday, the 10% tariff on Canadian oil has been delayed.
Until when?
Until February 18th.
Huh. I wonder what's behind that.
It's hard to say for sure. Could be a way to lessen the impact on American consumers since Canadian oil is a pretty significant source for U.S. refineries.
Makes sense.
Or maybe it's just like a tactic in the ongoing negotiations with Canada, a bargaining chip or something.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. It adds another layer of complexity to an already tricky situation.
For sure.
And speaking of complex situations, let's talk about the U.S. and China.
Right. The trade war rhetoric has certainly escalated in recent years, and these new tariffs could make things even worse.
Yeah, Trump has a history of using tariffs as leverage in negotiations with China.
He imposed a whole series of escalating tariffs on Chinese goods during his first term.
And what was the impact of that?
Well, it definitely impacted trade between the two countries. U.S. imports from China have basically plateaued since 2018, partly due to those tariffs.
So with these new tariffs, are we likely to see a repeat of that scenario?
It's possible, but China might be better prepared this time around.
How so?
Well, many Chinese businesses have diversified their supply chains, shifting production to countries like Vietnam and Cambodia.
So they're less reliant on the U.S. market.
Exactly. It gives them more negotiating power.
Interesting. And China's also been investing heavily in infrastructure projects across Asia and Africa, right? Expanding their influence in those regions.
That's right. It's like the global trade landscape is shifting. The old dynamics are changing.
Yeah, it's definitely getting more complicated.
Absolutely. Now, on a slightly different note, there is some potentially good news in the fight against the opioid crisis.
Oh, yeah?
The FDA has approved a new non-opioid painkiller called suzetrigine, or Journavex.
That's fantastic, considering the devastating impact opioids have had.
Yeah.
How does this new drug work?
Well, Journavex targets pain signals before they even reach the brain. Unlike opioids, which stimulate opioid receptors in the brain and can be highly addictive, Journavex blocks pain signals at an earlier stage.
So it offers a potential alternative for those suffering from moderate to severe pain without the risk of addiction associated with opioids.
Exactly. The FDA has actually hailed the approval of Journavex as a public health milestone in acute pain management.
That's huge.
Yeah, this new drug could be a significant step forward in addressing the opioid crisis.
And this development ties into President Trump's concerns about the influx of fentanyl into the U.S.,
Oh.
which he blames on Canada and Mexico.
Right, he's been very vocal about this issue, even using it as justification for the tariffs.
It's a complex issue with public health, international relations, and economics all tangled up.
Absolutely. Now let's shift our focus back to the U.S. economy. Recent data shows that economic growth slowed at the end of last year.
Yeah, I saw that the economy expanded at an annual rate of 2.3% between October and December, which is lower than economists had predicted.
Right. While this pace is weaker than expected, it's important to remember that it's still fueled by solid growth in consumer spending, which rose by 4.2%.
That's good. That indicates continued confidence in the economy.
It does.
Well, what's driving this consumer spending?
A significant portion of it was due to a jump in purchases of goods, particularly cars.
Interesting.
This could be related to concerns about potential price increases due to the tariffs.
Ah, so people are rushing to buy before prices go up.
Exactly. Some analysts are suggesting that, yeah, so it might not be as robust as it appears at first glance.
So it's a situation that needs careful observation.
Definitely. Now let's talk about the social media landscape. Twitter, or X as it's now known, has been going through some turbulent times since Elon Musk took over.
To say the least, we've seen policy changes, mass layoffs, and a lot of controversial content. It's been a wild ride.
It has. And these changes have had a significant impact on brands.
We've seen what some are calling the great exodus, with many companies choosing to leave the platform or pull their advertising.
Right. Their concerns range from the content appearing alongside their posts to just the overall direction of the platform under Musk's leadership.
There's been a surge in anti-Semitic posts and other problematic content on X.
And Musk's own posts, especially those about British politics, haven't exactly helped.
He's really focused on the issue of grooming gangs in the UK, even putting pressure on the British government.
It's a very sensitive topic, and his interventions have been met with mixed reactions.
Yeah, some people applaud his efforts while others criticize them as attention-seeking or even harmful.
Right. The uncertainty surrounding his leadership has definitely made many brands wary.
We've seen high-profile companies like Apple, IBM, and Disney pause their advertising on the platform, and Musk has even sued companies like Unilever and Mars, accusing them of orchestrating an unlawful boycott of X.
It's a really messy situation with no easy solutions for brands. Deciding whether to stay on or leave X is a tough call.
Yeah, they have to weigh the pros and cons, consider their values and priorities. Some organizations still see value in X, while others have chosen to leave, citing concerns about the platform's content and moderation.
Now let's head north to the Arctic Circle. The race for Greenland's mineral wealth is heating up.
Greenland is rich in resources, including rare earth elements, which are crucial for modern technology.
Right, and it's caught the attention of countries worldwide, especially as China currently dominates the rare earth market.
The U.S. has definitely expressed interest in securing access to Greenland's minerals.
Remember President Trump's idea about buying Greenland?
Oh yeah, that created quite a stir.
It did. While Greenland's government has made it clear that they're not for sale, they are open to partnerships and investment.
So there's a lot of potential for development and economic growth in Greenland.
Absolutely, but it's not without challenges. Mining in Greenland comes with some significant hurdles. It's a harsh environment with remote locations and limited infrastructure. The high costs and environmental regulations can also be deterrents.
But the potential rewards are immense. Greenland could become a key player in the global supply chain for critical minerals, playing a pivotal role in the green economy.
Indeed, it's a fascinating story with geopolitical and environmental implications that will definitely continue to unfold.
We're talking about Elon Musk and his influence on the social media landscape.
All right, and it seems like his influence extends beyond just the platform itself, especially when it comes to politics.
Yeah, like with his focus on those grooming gangs in the UK.
Exactly. His posts on that sensitive topic have definitely triggered some debates and even prompted government action.
It makes you wonder just how much influence he really has.
It's hard to say for sure, but there's no denying that his involvement has added another layer of complexity to X's already turbulent landscape.
Speaking of complex situations, the race for Greenland's mineral wealth is really heating up with some high geopolitical stakes.
Yeah, as we discussed earlier, Greenland is rich in those rare earth elements, which are absolutely crucial for modern technology.
And with China currently dominating that market, other countries like the U.S. are really looking for alternative sources.
Right, and Greenland's vast untapped reserves make it a pretty attractive option for countries looking to diversify their supply chains.
But it's not just about who gets access to the minerals. There are environmental concerns to consider as well.
Absolutely. Greenland's Arctic environment is fragile and vulnerable to the impacts of mining.
Of course, and their government is aware of those concerns and has implemented some pretty strict environmental regulations.
It's a tough balancing act. They want to develop their economy and potentially even achieve independence from Denmark, but they also want to protect their environment and make sure that any mining activity actually benefits the Greenlandic people.
It's a tricky situation that requires a lot of careful consideration and planning.
Definitely.
Now let's turn our attention to the UK dry. Labour's commitment to the North is facing some scrutiny.
Yes, the age-old issue of regional disparities continues to plague the UK.
It seems like despite promises, the North often feels left behind.
Right, and this criticism stems from Chancellor Rachel Reeves's focus on projects in the South, like airport expansion, and that idea of a UK Silicon Valley.
While essential infrastructure in the North is crumbling.
Exactly. You've got things like that coned-off flyover in Gateshead and the rusting Time Bridge.
It's a reminder that bridging those regional divides requires consistent attention and investment, no matter which party is in power.
For sure.
Shifting back to the U.S. economy, the latest data reveals a bit of a slowdown in economic growth. But consumer spending remains strong, which offers a glimmer of hope.
It really speaks to the resilience of the American consumer, even amid uncertainty and global headwinds.
But as we discussed earlier, that surge in purchases of goods, particularly cars, might be temporary, fueled by those concerns about potential price increases from the tariffs.
Right, so we need to keep an eye on that to really assess the true strength of consumer spending.
It seems like a lot of the news we discussed today hinges on uncertainty and requires a wait-and-see approach.
Well, that's the nature of the global economy and financial markets. Things are constantly in flux, and unexpected events can quickly change the landscape.
True, and it's our job to keep you informed and provide insights to help you navigate these complexities.
Absolutely.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from market trends and political developments to global trade and technological advancements.
And as always, we encourage you to stay informed and invest wisely.
That's all for today's Daily Financial News Roundup. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for more market updates and analysis.
Until then, stay curious.